base is dropped on another round of soccer down here. It's Thursday Thoughts. And I know a lot of you have thoughts about a particular event that kept us up all night, or not all night, but late last night at Heart Health Park in Sacramento. We'll get into that in just a little bit in short order. And we'll get into who the opponent will be. We'll get into the news of the day here domestically. We'll get into the news of the day internationally. So it's a busy hour for us, and a couple of programming reminders later today. We'll start our coverage and our recap of Tormenta FC's USLW Championship. Head coach Jim Robbins and Amy Andrews will be hanging out with us on a 2v1. That'll be up on the network a little later today. And so that one will be fun to see how things have been after the big win in Minnesota against Minnesota Aurora over the weekend. And where is the trophy? Where are the medals? We need to know all of these important questions. So that'll be up on the network also later today. Nico Moreno and his Thursday visit will be up on the network later today. So very, very busy Thursday across the board. And I'm not really going to waste any more time. Opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com. And you can follow along at Kickoff Coffee on the Twitters, on the IG, or the Gram, as the kids say, and on Facebook. And thanks to everyone who has been investing in Kickoff Coffee. As I've said, the boss seems to like the dark roasted Italian version of it. Not a coffee guy myself, but nevertheless, she likes it, and she's going to continue to have her morning kickoff with Kickoff Coffee. And when you do, and thanks once again to everybody who has so far, use the code SoccerDownHere15 because that will get you 15% off of your purchase when it comes to Kickoff Coffee. But a reminder that 10% of the proceeds go toward youth development. That's something great that our friends at Kickoff Coffee are doing, and they're going to continue to do. And it's something that we like to talk about here at SDH and growing the game from the ground up and from the youth level up. And so 10% of the proceeds from everything you do with Kickoff Coffee head that direction. So it's very, very cool. Thanks to our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com. Use the code SoccerDownHere15, and you get 15% off of your purchase as everybody gets gassed up and ready for their day whenever you like to have your first cup of coffee. So morning kickoff, and really I'm not going to waste any time when it comes to the particular story. So morning kickoff is you have a team now that beat Portland Timbers U23s, Central Valley Fuego, Phoenix Rising, San Jose Earthquakes, at the LA Galaxy at Dignity Health Sports Park, Sporting Kansas City, and now will travel September the 7th and face Orlando City at Exploria Stadium for the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup Trophy. And we're talking about Sacramento Republic. And it was a very, very late night last night. So when it comes to the opening kickoff, let's just get right into the highlights. And we're going to pass by the first 90 minutes. We're going to pass by the next 30 minutes. So we're going to go right into penalties. We're going to skip the first 3.5 rounds. And so we're going to go to the bottom of the fourth and a moment that was probably best described by Tyler Terrence and Devin Kerr, thanks to our friends at the U.S. Open Cup, their own selves, and ESPN+.
I got it the first time, and twice now we've seen the hips open go the other direction for Sporting Kansas City.
The Jamaican Malik Foster. The Panenka, absolutely disgusting. In a moment that called for all sorts of composure, he pulls out all the stops.
Malik Foster, apologize now. This guy's got a family. What are you doing out here? The nerve in this situation to go that route, to employ this method.
Which meant that Sacramento was even after 4. You head to the 5th. Graham Zusi steps to the spot to go up against Danny Vitiello, who has been very, very stout when it comes to defending his spot and shots from the spot. Once again, Tyler Terrence and Devin Kerr from the U.S. Open Cup and ESPN+.
Everything you could want and more in a penalty shootout. Graham Zusi, the 35-year-old veteran, hoisted this trophy plenty of times. Saved by Viniello! Improbable scenes, and Sacramento Republic are a penalty away from their skipper from getting to a final.
You look at that save, the fifth kicker. I look at the number 46. 46% of the time that Viniello is on his line, this is the end result. Sends the opposition packing. Full extension for Viniello and an opportunity.
46% save rate. That is obscene from Danny Viniello. And so that takes us to the bottom of the fifth. And I legitimately could not come up with anything, Jim Nancian about Rodrigo Lopez. And, there's always the row and then finish it off or something like that. Couldn't do it. So here's how it finished. Bottom of the fifth. Tyler and Devin once again. U.S. Open Cup on ESPN+.
Who else would you want to be in this spot if you're Sacramento? Rodrigo Lopez. It's improbable. It's indomitable. It's another cup set, and Sacramento Republic are off to the final.
So cup set of the highest order. And so let's go back to the celebration from Malik Foster for a second. You get the combination. You get a lot. First off, you get the Ozzie Smith backflip. Then you get finger pistols. And then I know a lot of folks in that particular region in Northern California, they look at the third move and they think Steph Curry. But legitimately, the first person I thought of was CM Punk before he did his finishing move. And the finishing move obviously would come in the fifth frame of the penalties. But, yeah, so GTS. You get finger pistols, a GTS, and a backflip from Malik Foster on an absolutely ridiculous moment in the bottom of the fourth against Pulskamp for Sporting Kansas City. So we now know we knew the late part of the equation. We'll get to the early part of the equation coming up in just a little bit. But the beauty of breaking news, and I thought that this was kind of cool, the beauty of breaking news in a market, in the tri-market of Sacramento, is that right at 10 o'clock local time, right after 1 o'clock in the morning here on the East Coast, you had live shots. You had live shots off the top of a show for your local news. And here's how it was reported by our friends at KTXL Fox 40 right at the top of their 10 o'clock newscast. You could not have asked for a better start.
Sac Republic FC's quest for the U.S. Open Cup is still very much alive. That club defeating Sporting KC in the semifinals on penalty kicks just a couple of minutes ago. The newsroom here is still calming down a little bit from that last kick. Thanks for joining us at 10. I'm Eric Harriman.
Yeah, don't be alarmed if you see Zach Boetto doing laps in the studio because he just ran in here a couple of minutes ago. He's just a little bit excited, so let's send it out to Fox 40's Eric Rucker, joining us now from Hart Health Park. Rucker.
The last time we talked, we were right outside of the stadium. Now we are in the middle of the field. I want to go ahead and show you to our left, to the, I guess you could say the eastern end. A lot of the players for the Republic now making their rounds, thanking the fans. This place, I have never seen an atmosphere, at least at a soccer game, that was so ridiculously electric. Obviously, fans had to wait a very long time, 90 minutes plus another 30 minutes of extra time to finally get themselves some goals. That came in penalty kicks. And then, when it all came down to the Republic needing to make one save in that final round, that is exactly what they did. And then they cap it off with a goal themselves to win the game. Oh, yeah. The brigade is loving it. The fans are loving it. This was super cool. We talked about the build-up to all this, the anticipation from the fans. Obviously, they were very excited about this game. But you get an idea right now of just how important this is to the players, to themselves, to the city of Sacramento. They are now off to the championship. This is amazing, guys. I'm just going to have you stick on this for a second. I'm done talking. Enjoy this.
call a celebration right there.
That's a celebration that you have when you have your third win over an MLS team.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, this is incredible. And seeing the fans turn out and for it to end in that dramatic fashion, too, in penalty kicks. Yeah. We were talking about this in the commercial break, and just you were looking at Twitter. Fans were just like the stress. Oh my gosh, I'm on the edge of my seat. And unbelievable to see the excitement and Sac Republic move on. And of course, since we are the media sponsor, we will be there with them the whole way.
Yeah. Well, and it's been such a funky time for so many people all over the place. They don't have a lot to feel happy about. And finally tonight to see something like that, and you see a sold-out crowd that's that happy and all for the greatest reasons. You don't get to see that all the time. Not in Sacramento, and not with a team that's not an MLS team. So
and exactly. Great. And considering what fans in the city and the players and the team have gone through too, we're getting an MLS team. It's going to happen.
And then taken away.
Pandemic hits, and then the uncertainty of what's going to happen and how fans are going to respond. And look, they showed up, and the team is proving how great they are.
Yeah. I hope MLS was watching.
Yeah.
Come on back.
Daryl Steinberg said earlier during our special show that we're still very much in play. So, Steinberg, when you hear something, you got my number. Let us know.
Today also more.
So celebrations all over the place. Thanks to our friends at Fox 40 for their opening. And yeah, that was very, very cool. You live for moments like that, frankly, when it comes to breaking news, and you get the chance to have a sporting moment or a great live shot to start your newscast off. And we'll hold Fox 40 to it. You guys are the number one station for Sacramento Republic. We expect to see you there at Exploria Stadium in and around September 7. By the way, I think tickets go on sale to the season ticket holders today, and then to the general public tomorrow on your Friday. So considering what the crowd was, and I'm going to go ahead and say it right here, I thought the crowd for a U.S. Open Cup semifinal was disappointing. Because if you looked, obviously there were a lot of tight shots on your coverage on ESPN+, but the end zones looked pretty empty. The upper deck was empty. Empty. And you can't have that. And so because of that, I sincerely hope that there are a lot of folks, and I mean a lot of folks, that want to travel from Sacramento, California, and bring the indomitable city to Central Florida. I sincerely hope that happens. And you know that anybody that can make it to the U.S. Open Cup final on September 7 from California will do so. I want to see what the mix is when it comes to ticket sales. And I want to also know if Orlando City is going to try and find a way to pin Sacramento fans in, only give them a certain number of tickets. Or are they going to open up the entire building thinking that they could sell the place out, and it might turn into a bit of a road game for Orlando City? That, to me, is the next element in all of this. When tickets go on sale to the general public, how many Sacramento Republic fans buy tickets and will make the trip? That is going to be the interesting part of this for me. So congratulations on the cup set. You made it all across the board, Sacramento Republic. A lot of folks talked about you, and they should, as Abby did. I mean, when her Thursday thought, go Sacramento. She's not alone in this, because a lot of folks are not fans of the purple team. And so let's find out how the purple team actually made it into the championship game for the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup trophy. Remember, this was 1-0. This was 1-0 Red Bulls on a goal by Lewis Morgan late in the first half. Then all of this stuff happened. Mike Watson, Jamie Watson on the call. Thanks once again to our friends at the U.S. Open Cup and ESPN+.
A little bit deeper in the 8 roll and the 6 roll. How he's able to get back and track defensively and makes an important play.
Pereira, header snap down and off the post. Foul up is in. Araujo equalizes for Orlando.
Gloria Stadium. The service comes in and Carlos wins the header, snaps it down, and it falls fortuitously to Araujo. With several Red Bull players on the line, he knows he's got to strike it with confidence. Hits it right through the legs of Carlos Coronel.
Gerhard Struber made reference to the idea of putting water over the fire. While the rain continues to fall over this purple venue, Exploria Stadium. The second half is underway, and we're all square at 1. Juan. Pereira. Rolled ahead, circulated back, Pereira! It had to be the captain!
Orlando City, amongst the rainfall here at Exploria Stadium, are raining goals. Either side of halftime, how patient is this from Torres? Times it to perfection. Everybody tracks back because they're expecting Matinho to slide it across the slippery turf, and instead he cuts it back. Pereira just opens his vibrations of the wall at the opposite end.
Pato. Sprung through, Michel kept it alive, taken out of the air! Orlando City through Araujo again! 3-1 up!
To put another center back on, but Araujo is one challenge away as Michel is called offside.
The referee saying put the flag
hold
down.
on.
Urso lines it across. Torres!
A wonderful finish from Torres, surrounded in controversy, but finish in emphatic form. Provide an extra number to receive it and then be able to advance on in position. What a ball from Janssen.
Janssen delivers forward. Facundo Torres for Michel! Oh, he put it in! And the celebration begins for Orlando City!
So it was 1-0, ended up 5-1, and I know a lot of folks who are Red Bulls fans are going to be looking at the one offside call. Yes, I know that it was 2-1 with 30 to go, but as a part of the 3 goals in the final 30 minutes, I know a lot of folks are going to be looking at the offside call, and once again looking at Victor Rivas and how he handled or did not handle a match. Alan Chapman was the center ref on the West Coast version for U.S. Open Cup After Dark in Sacramento. Victor Rivas, once again, was uneven, and that's just the word that I'm going to use. And you really, honestly, need VAR in the Open Cup, and I hope that changes going forward. I know that you have to look at venue and broadcast capability and things like that, but you really need VAR in the U.S. Open Cup. You really, really do. So that is my hope. But now that you've got your finals matchups when it comes to the U.S. Open Cup, Sacramento Republic makes their way through in penalties, and they will be playing the Purple Team September 7 at Exploria Stadium. And that's our opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com for the World Wide Web version. Once again, at Kickoff Coffee CO on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram. Once again, you can use the code SoccerDownHere15. Get all your coffee from our friends at Kickoff Coffee. 15% off your purchase using the code SoccerDownHere15. And remember, 10% of the proceeds help out youth development of the sport. So very, very cool things that they're doing at Kickoff Coffee. KickoffCoffeeCO.com. Kickoff Coffee CO on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram. That's your opening kickoff. Your morning kickoff was about U.S. Open Cup because it went late into the night or early into the morning, and you might really need your kickoff coffee to help you out if you've stayed up later than late on the East Coast to figure out who the Purple Team was going to be playing in the U.S. Open Cup final on September 7th. So Thursday thought from Rich Ransom, and since we're sticking with topic here, question from Rich is about Sacramento. And Rich wants to know, does Sacramento's U.S. Open Cup run wash the taste of the failed MLS move out? I think that if you remember listening to Nicky Lorenzo from Fox 40 during their live shot, I think that there is still some kind of hope that Sacramento, in some manner, way, shape, or form, can find their way back in to Major League Soccer and try to figure out if they can be a part of Major League Soccer as it continues to grow. Rich, I think that they're taking the Open Cup run, and I think they're putting it off to the side as its own special thing, to be perfectly honest. I think that if you have something like this, you're embracing it, and it just so happens that you're in USL Championship, you're chasing a playoff spot in USL Championship right now, and let me dig up the numbers, because that was something that was also addressed in the broadcast, where you're trying to do more than one thing right now. Sporting Kansas City did the right thing. They're having a horrendous year, and so what do? They sit there and they throw all of their proverbial eggs into the U.S. Open Cup basket, as they should, and as it turns out, they end up losing in the semifinals, and so now they have the rest of the season in Major League Soccer to try to figure out what they have with their recent acquisitions that you got to see in this match. But for Sacramento Republic right now, they've only played 19 matches, and they are right there on the edge of the playoff picture. They have 3 matches in hand on LA Galaxy 2. They have 4 matches in hand on El Paso Locomotive, and they're a match or 2 behind everybody else that's above them in the standings. But right now, 4 through 9 in the Western Conference, separated by 6 points. New Mexico's at 35, El Paso's at 33. They've lost 2 in a row. Vegas Lights lost last night to San Antonio, and they travel to Atlanta to take on Atlanta United 2 this weekend. Interesting to see what that Vegas side looks like. Los Dos are at 30. They've lost 2 in a row. Sacramento, with things obviously on their mind, they've only given up a goal a match with Danny Vitiello in net, but they've only scored 22. They're at 30. Oakland Roots are behind them, but the Roots have played 24 matches already this year, so they only have the 2/3 mark of their schedule. Sacramento is in a playoff run. They're in a U.S. Open Cup championship run, and they have what you're seeing here with the MLS bid. So they have a lot of different things going on right now, and I think, Rich, what they're doing, I don't think that – so there are folks that may not think that the failed MLS move is done, and you've got to figure out what you're going to do with the rail yards, and you've got to figure out what you're going to do with, an ownership group, and have the funding there that Ron Burkle did not. So I think that what they may do is take this idea of look what we can be and try to create some momentum behind it, and try to be, try to still be in the public consciousness of Major League Soccer. But I think that the fans currently, in the short term, are looking at this as a fantastic thing for their USL Championship side, and they've got wins over 3 straight Major League Soccer teams to get them to this point. I think that what they're doing, they're kind of keeping them mutually exclusive. Right now in USL Championship, we're doing fantastic, and we're going to a U.S. Open Cup final, and we still want to do the other thing. So I think that right now they're taking a short-term and a long-term idea. It's like, yeah, we love what's going on right now, but what we would like is to kind of parlay what we're doing into this other stuff. So I think that they're still hanging on to both, and they're trying to figure out maybe how they can leverage one into the other. So, Rich, is always great to hear from you when it comes to the show. When it comes to other stuff going on around Major League Soccer, I want to take you back to a conversation that happened a couple weeks ago, and it was on ESPN 700 in Salt Lake City. Spence Checketts has been a part of the sports scene there in Salt Lake for a very long time. He hosts an afternoon drive program on ESPN 700 called The Drive with Spence Checketts. I know that shocks you. So a couple weeks ago, back on July 15th, 2 weeks ago, Spence opened up his Friday conversation with Real Salt Lake head coach Pablo Mastroeni about one of his goalkeepers, David Ochoa. And here was the conversation that was had at the time.
Pablo, happy Friday, man. How are you?
Happy Friday, Spence. Doing well. Just prepping for the weekend after a long and busy week.
Long and busy week for sure. I do want to start here. And, you're a pro. You've been doing this a long time. You can handle it however you want. But, everyone knows that David Ochoa gave you a really, really good season last year, played really well, and he's still a bright young talent. It's not like the book is written on the kid at all. But, he took to social media to express some frustration, saying that he's not allowed to train with the first team right now. And let's be clear, Zach has been good for you. He's earned the job, and, I know he's your first choice keeper, and we've seen him play well. But how would you articulate this situation right now as the head coach of this team, where you're at with David and what could potentially be next? Is he in your plans, or do you foresee him maybe moving on?
Yeah, it's been a really interesting start to the campaign for David. I think he, like you rightly said, he had a good season for us last year. And what I'll say about it is, at every professional club, there's club rules, there's coaches rules, and then there's locker room rules, which the players kind of set for themselves and a standard. And I think anytime those standards aren't met, there's going to be repercussions. As far as, again, the onus is on each player to want to be a part of the team. And there's certain rules and a code of conduct that one has to hold themselves to in order to be a part of that. And if something isn't right, then you try to autocorrect, or in this case, the club correct, so that we get said player on track to be a part of the group in a way that is, accountable, that is in line with what everyone else is doing. And so, I think this is a completely normal situation for a young player. He had a bit of success early on in his career, and you're going to have to figure out how to assimilate to the different clubs you go to all over the world. And there's different, rules and codes of conduct with each club you go to. And I think the onus is on each player to kind of figure those things out. And I'll just say, my role, as not only a coach, but really a mentor. I've sat down with David quite a few times. He's a great young man, going through a little bit of a tough time. And so to try to guide, him as to, what the expectations are and how to, and some of the roadblocks you're going to meet along the way. And so it's really important that you don't miss any steps in your young part of your career, so that as you move forward, you have the know-how and the experience to really, be able to step in any environment and produce the way he produced last year for us.
So do you feel like you've set the expectations that you guys are asking of David, and do you feel like he's at least trying to meet those expectations as of now?
Yeah. So, I think this is going to be a process, right? I think it's there's no timeline to it. Currently he's training with the Monarchs, and he's going to do that for a bit. And like you said, he's a great young man. He's a great prospect. He's done really well for us. And while he's here with us, because I think he's got aspirations of doing other things in his career as well. But while he's here with us, the onus is on us as a club to make sure that we're guiding him and mentoring him in the way that we would anyone else, regardless of what your name is and regardless of what you've achieved with the club. That is our responsibility, and that's what we're doing. And so, he's on board. He's doing it. And again, from my side, just looking forward to progress in that regard. And then, this is it's a fluid situation. So at any moment things can change. But the important thing is that he's on board, and we're doing everything we can to make sure we're facilitating his growth as a young man.
Thanks to our friends at ESPN 700 and the Odyssey app for that. And so now we fast forward to today, and we go to Stephen Goff at the Washington Post, and it looks like that David Ochoa has a new home, and it is D.C. So D.C. United appears to have made a deal bringing in David Ochoa as a part of the overturning of the roster. And so here's the deal. DC and RSL from Stephen Goff agree to a trade that sends David Ochoa to Washington for allocation money. It's awaiting MLS approval, as you and I are talking this morning. Ochoa, who chose Mexico over the United States for his international career, is in RSL's doghouse, hadn't played any games. Last year of his contract, DC would aim to reach a new deal. DC will pay only a portion of the allocation money right away. A larger amount would go to RSL if David Ochoa signs a new contract with DC. Also some news this morning involving DC United. Wayne Rooney, still awaiting word on whether Wayne Rooney receives his work visa, which would allow him to make his DC United coaching debut this weekend. Seems to be a chance Ravel Morrison will be cleared to play versus Orlando as well. Fitness is an issue, though. He last played, according to Stephen Goff, back on June 14th for Jamaica. And going back to filling in some of the details from that first conversation that we had with Spence Checkins and Pablo Mastroeni about David Ochoa. And so circling back a little bit, Pablo Mastroeni was on El Show RSL, and you can go to @EL Show RSL on Twitter, and it's a podcast. You can also catch it on their YouTube channel. And Mastroeni volunteered this, and this the translation comes from Jaime Ojeda. Pablo Mastroeni clarifies why David Ochoa has been set aside. Quote, "He was late for training several times, and then he trained unprofessionally without attitude." Once again, this is translated. "He's a great person, but we have rules, and he is no exception. You must behave well." And so that is your background, or a little more background. And with 5 months left on his deal, Barca B was very interested in him as well, but it looks like David Ochoa is headed to DC United now to be a part of the goalkeeping group there. So let's see what happens with Wayne Rooney. We'll see what happens with David Ochoa. We'll see what happens between the sticks for the team that is last in the East. So interesting stuff out of Salt Lake City and in DC. Before we head into the action and all the gossip, rumor, and innuendo that we can get our hands on to wrap up the show today, go back to the Euro quickly. We now know who the Lionesses will face in the championship. It's Germany. Germany over France yesterday, and it was a 2-1 final. Alexandra Popp comes up big again. Martina Voss-Tecklenburg's side have now scored 101 goals at European finals, and Popp drew level as the tournament's joint top scorer with England's Beth Mead. Here's how that match ended up, courtesy of our friends at ESPN FC.
Brand. And then Hoots with the cross in, and a goal! Beautiful goal, it's 12. Pop arrives again, 5 for the tournament. Screeching volley to break the deadlock from Alex Pop. 1-0 Germany.
And this is the space here. Onside position. And again, too much time and space, but what a good run that is for Pop to get in front of the defender at the last minute and just get her left foot on it. Look how she comes across. This is so difficult to do with your left foot.
Forward by Toletti. And a fantastic finish, an own goal in the end. But it's a brilliant shot from Gianni. In the post, bounce back off the goalkeeper and in. France are level and out of nothing on the stroke of half-time.
Winning this ball out, making sure it doesn't clear midfield. Onside position from that. Cracks it. Fromm's unable to come across. And it's just this first touch that gives her that gap in that window, but she hits it with such pace. Oh.
Well, you were watching that. Here it is again. It's going to go down as a Merle Fromm's own goal. It's a pity Diani doesn't get the credit, really, because it was a... Well, then, could be in business again here. Diani's got Gaoro up there with her and went for goal on her own with Gaoro screaming for him in the middle. Wasted opportunity by France there.
Pierre asking for it, running with her, and she just didn't look. Maybe thought she could catch Fromm's. There he is. Look at that run.
Quinn. Hoot. Cross shot. Opportunity, Brandt's efforts, block, has another chance. France get the block in. Germany close there. Hoot plays it in there. Again, Pop! Gets there again! Scores again! Fantastic header! What a tournament she's having!
But again, Here's the earlier attempt by Braun, who gets a second bite at it. Good defense in the middle there by Mbati. But watch Pop's movement here. She's waiting, and then when it comes, she's not messing about. Look at that run at that ball. Skies over Renard, finds the seam. What a finish. And in the end, catches Mbati on her back shoulder, never even sees her.
So the 8-time champs booked their place into Sunday's Euro 2022 final against France, who was in the Final Four for their first time. No goals conceded by Germany coming into the match. And then the own goal that you heard there in the highlights as they are chasing after a 9th Euro final. France head coach Karine Diacre vowed her side were going to savor every moment of their first semifinal appearance. But Pop got that goal to start things off at 1-0. It was the 90th of the tournament, also represented Germany's 100th at the European Championships, an all-time high. You get the own goal that made it 1-1. Then you get the game winner from Pop that made it 2-1 in the 76th. Yes, they did check it through VAR, but it was shortly cleared. Germany had scored coming into this match in all 23 of their knockout phase matches at European finals. It's now 24. They'll meet England at Wembley for a repeat of the 2009 final. And courtesy of our friends at Opta Joe, Alexandra Popp has scored 6 of Germany's 13 goals at the 2022 Euros. That's 46%. She has scored 6 times from 17 shots, while the rest of Germany's squad has combined for 7 goals from 75 shots. So 6 from 17 is just over 30, so like mid-30s percentage compared to 7 and 75, which is 13%. So you're talking about Alexandra Popp at about 3 times more composed in her finishes than the rest of the club. 27,445 at MK Dons Stadium to watch this one at a capacity of 32,000. So it's England and it is Germany in the final for the women's Euros. Looking at your juice boxes on that one for the weekend, England at home is a plus 144. Your 90-minute draw is a plus 224. Germany is a plus 192. 87,000 tickets sold to that match even before the tournament started. So good luck getting a ticket for it. I can't wait to hear what the secondary ticket market is for everybody who's going to be trying to get into this particular match with England and Germany. So let's get into all of the gossip, rumor, innuendo, and everything that might be heading our way when it comes to all your transfers, who might be going where, and all of the other stuff that is going on. Let's start with the papers before we get into all the other information. Cristiano Ronaldo remains intent on leaving Manchester United in the transfer window so that he can play in this season's Champions League. Won't be at Atletico Madrid because they brought signs out, the supporters did, saying that he wasn't welcome. So here is Darmish Sheth's breakdown of the situation, courtesy of our friends at Sky Sports News.
Yeah, welcome along. We do start with Cristiano Ronaldo again, who yesterday held talks with Erik ten Hag for the first time since signalling his intention to leave Manchester United. Darmish Sheth is alongside me now. So any change from Ronaldo in terms of the way he sees his future, Darmish?
Look, Manchester United, for starters, their stance remains unchanged. Cristiano Ronaldo is not for sale. Ronaldo's stance, we think that's unchanged as well. He still wants to leave Manchester United to get Champions League football, to challenge for big trophies as well. But his potential options, they look like they're receding. You remember earlier in the window we heard about Todd Boehly, the Chelsea owner, having a meeting with Jorge Mendes. The Chelsea option doesn't look likely. Atletico Madrid and Bayern Munich look like they were options as well, particularly Bayern Munich, given they'd sold Robert Lewandowski to Barcelona. But they've both publicly, at least, ruled themselves out. And Atletico Madrid, they were in a pre-season friendly last night at Numancia, and their fans put up a banner saying, CR7, you're not welcome. I mean, there is a lot of rivalry, of course, attached to that, given he'd spent 9 very, very successful seasons at Real Madrid. As far as Ronaldo is concerned, and as far as Manchester United are concerned, they expect him to stay. He's got 12 months left on his contract, and United have an option for a further 12 months. So as it stands, the stance on both sides remains unchanged. United say he's not for sale. Ronaldo, we think, still wants to leave.
Daily Mirror has new Manchester United midfielder Christian Eriksen getting on the board, scoring in his first preseason friendly in front of Cristiano Ronaldo. So the Daily Mirror decided to make that point. Second point from our friends at Sky Sports, Premier League and Sky Sports News this morning. Frankie de Jong from the Daily Mirror reported to have told his Barcelona teammates he has no plans to leave Catalonia this summer despite Manchester United's relentless efforts. That's quoting the Daily Mirror. So what does Darmish have to say about the Frankie de Jong situation? Once again, Sky Sports News and Sky Sports Premier League with the breakdown.
This is definitely the saga of the window as far as Manchester United are concerned. But the information that I'm getting this morning is that Manchester United are not giving up on the signing of the Barcelona midfielder Frankie de Jong. There remains a belief that a deal can still be done between the two clubs. Now, we've been saying this for the past few weeks. United remain comfortable in the position that they're in that they have a broad agreement with Barcelona worth £72 million. That's including add-ons for Frankie de Jong. United, you'd think, would have their own private deadline on getting this deal done. And so they do have other targets. And I'm told today that they're keeping those other targets warm. That was the phrase that I was given. But they still maintain that a deal can be done with Frankie de Jong. But they are looking at alternatives. They'd have to, because this deal is proving to be very, very problematic to do. And that centres around the issues that Frankie de Jong has with Barcelona. Now, Barcelona's public stance has been the same. We've got no intention of selling. Xavi says he's a very important player. But then on the other hand, they've said there are financial and economic issues that need to be sorted, namely these deferred wages, because he took a pay cut during the pandemic and he's owed between 14 and 17 million pounds. And Xavi, as much as he says he's an important player, during pre-season, Frankie de Jong has been on the bench, and when he's come on, in particular in one of the games, he came on as a central defender. And Xavi afterwards said, no, I'm not sending a message to Frankie de Jong. He can be very, very beneficial for us at central defence. And then on the other side, you see Barcelona pursuing a deal for Jules Koundé from Sevilla. So it leaves Frankie de Jong in quite a difficult situation, because whereas he may say, I want to stay at Barcelona, I'm happy at Barcelona, all of the noises that Barcelona are making publicly would suggest that they want to keep him, but all of their actions would suggest, look, we do actually want to sell Frankie de Jong. So that's why Manchester United are staying firm. They don't want to be dragged into the issues that Barcelona have got, because there's a growing feeling that Barcelona are doing all of this so that Manchester United might offset some of those wages that Barcelona owe Frankie de Jong, so that Barcelona won't have to pay all of that money. If you look at it from de Jong's situation, it's a very difficult situation, because yes, on the one hand, he's owed all this money, but then he's seen Barcelona go into the market at the beginning of the transfer window, and it's a free transfer market. They've brought in Frank Kessie and they've brought in Andreas Christensen. So on that basis, you could say, OK, look, I can understand why I'm not getting this money back. But then their last two signings, Rafinha, they've spent big money on, close to £60 million. And if Robert Lewandowski achieves all of his performance-related add-ons, that deal could come to €50 million. So
plus the wages.
Exactly. So I think Frankie de Jong's looking at it and thinking something isn't right here. So I think Manchester United still believe that a deal can be done with that.
Also from the Daily Mirror, Nottingham Forest and their £100 million spending spree looks set to continue as they're targeting Morgan Gibbs White. Arsenal could now explore the idea of using Bernd Leno as a make-weight in their bid to pry Yuri Tielemans away from Leicester before the window closes later this summer. Right now, Bernd Leno is headed to Fulham, so we'll see if that changes. Price tag in at around £8 million right now, last time I checked. From The Guardian, Barcelona close to beating Chelsea to the signing of Jules Koundé after agreeing to a €50 million fee with Sevilla for the France defender. Select Manchester City fans will be offered a smart scarf next season, the latest in wearable technology that sees a biometric sensor integrated into the fabric to monitor emotional, physiological, and movement data. Interesting. I don't think I want one of those. Chelsea, who shortlisted RB Leipzig defender Josko Gvardiol, Atletico Madrid's Jose Maria Jimenez, Internacional's Milan Skriniar, and Villarreal's Pau Torres at the start of the summer, are frustrated with Barcelona's behavior. They could respond by blocking Xavi's attempts to sign Azpilicueta and Marcus Alonso. Skipping the four-letter paper, Daily Telegraph says fans complained of a ticketing farce for England's Euro 2022 final after some were frozen out of Wembley by touts charging 900% markups. Man. Bournemouth set to sign Middlesbrough midfielder Marcus Tavernier. Say that 10 times fast. Middlesbrough midfielder Marcus Tavernier in a £12 million deal. See, it took me a couple times to say it. Daily Express, Manchester United target Benjamin Sesko justified links to Europe's top sides in a preseason friendly against Liverpool Wednesday. Tottenham have reportedly received a major boost in their pursuit of Nicolo Zaniolo, despite Jose Mourinho asking him to stay at Roma. Chelsea can reportedly sign Inter Milan wingback Denzel Dumfries for close to £33.6 million. Bobby Firmino reportedly closing in on a move to Juventus, which could have consequences for both Man U and Chelsea. Chelsea's transfer window handed yet another blow, as it has been reported that PSG defender Presnel Kimpembe has decided not to leave the club. Other papers, The Athletic overseas. Lo Celso, Ndombele, Winks, and Reguilon are all up for sale at Tottenham, but the lack of funds available to clubs in most leagues outside of England in a post-COVID world makes selling to countries like Spain and Italy a lot harder than it used to be. Spurs also open to selling defender Joe Rodon. Fulham are among the interested clubs with a loan possibility, given the player's contract does not expire until 2025. Daily Record, Union Saint-Gilloise are trying to block Rangers fans from snapping up tickets for the home end for their first leg of their crucial Champions League qualifier in Belgium next week after, and this is the words from Sky, cottoning on to crafty Ibrox punters, taking out membership schemes for the Jupiler Pro League side. So it's hey, you got to do what you got to do. You want to try and get tickets to a match. You buy season tickets to your opposition in Belgium. And then that way you get in tickets. So I want to see this match, and I want to see how that one I want to see what the breakdown is for the fans at that match. We talked about breakdowns for fans early on. So I want to see what the breakdown is in that particular one with all of the information that we're seeing right now. Elsewhere in the Premier League, we'll get into all of the quick information that is available to us. A lot of breaking news this morning across the board. So it looks like Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp confirms Alisson will miss Saturday's Community Shield against Manchester City, but will be fit for the Premier League opener against Fulham. Also, it appears Paul Pogba is weighing up what kind of surgery to have on the torn meniscus in his knee. We'll keep an eye on that one because he wants to play in a World Cup, and if he was to have substantive surgery, he would miss out on representing his country. Also on the board this morning, it looks like Everton close to signing Dwight McNeil from Burnley for a fee in excess of £20 million. Deal for the 22-year-old likely to be completed in the next 24 hours. PSG made a late attempt to sign Gianluca Scamacca, but the striker instead chose to sign for West Ham for that £35 million deal that we were talking about all week. Crystal Palace has signed Chris Richards from Bayern on a 5-year deal. And if you go to Crystal Palace's Twitter account, they kind of do a parody of the Ted Lasso Open introducing Chris Richards. And the AFC Richmond Twitter account actually did reach out and respond to that particular move by Crystal Palace. The AFC Richmond said, hey, that stadium looks familiar. Understandably so, with a lot of the atmospheric shots shot at Selhurst Park when they need to. So fun stuff there as well. So it's a very, very busy morning when it comes to gossip, rumor, and innuendo. Let's take a look at today's matches and let you in on what you need to watch and how you need to watch it. Now, today, big day, Europa Conference League. We mentioned Europa Conference League with 46 matches today. 46. Not kidding. 46 matches today. Some familiar faces, and we'll just go through them because I'm not going to go through all 46 matches. Astana from Kazakhstan, they start everything off with a home match at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. You've got Molde and Elfsborg going at it at 12:45, Norway versus Sweden. Juicebox pretty much have thrown a blanket over that one. Odds are pretty even. Başakşehir heading to Israel at 12:45. Apoel Nicosia is at 1 o'clock with a home match. Česká Sofia is at 1 o'clock with a home match. Djurgården from Sweden, big home favorite at 1 o'clock. Hibs from Malta, the other Hibs, going to Estonia, and they are a road dog at 1 o'clock. Also, you've got Riga out of Latvia at 1 o'clock. They've got a home match, and they're a home favorite. Slavia Prague is a big home favorite against St. Joseph's of Gibraltar at 1 o'clock at a minus 5,000. Sparta Prague is a road favorite at 1 o'clock against Viking of Norway. You've got Maccabi Tel Aviv at 1:30 with a home match, and they're a big favorite as well. PAOK from Greece, they are a big home favorite against Levski Sofia at 1:30. Let's see, Brøndby at 2 o'clock is a home favorite at a plus 149. Dynamo Minsk out of Belarus at 2 o'clock is a home dog against Hapoel Beersheva. Konyaspor against Bate Borisov. Konyaspor at home at 2 o'clock. They're a big home favorite. Sligo Rovers and Motherwell, interesting for Jared Smith. Motherwell at a plus 102 at 2 o'clock. Young Boys, we've seen them because of the interest for the men's national team. They're a big home favorite against the Latvian team, FK Liepāja. You've also got Basel going at 3 o'clock as a big road favorite, and Vitória Guimarães from Portugal as a road dog at 3 o'clock. So a lot of stuff going on in Europa Conference League today. 46 matches, and I was not going to go over all of them under any circumstance whatsoever. Champions League next round for them is August the 2nd. Europa League next round for them in qualification is August the 4th. So you've got a lot of that going on this afternoon over in Europe. So Paramount Plus probably is the place so you can catch most of your matchups from the Europa Conference League. So start quickly, especially if you're interested in the 11 o'clock games as well. You've got your friendlies. You've got Brazil with the Brasileiro with various age groups going on. Starting very, very early this afternoon, you've got Argentina. The Primera Nacional is going on this afternoon. Bolivia has their Division Profesional going on this afternoon. You've got stuff in Africa. You have Europe as well. Liga MX Femenil has a couple of matches starting at 4:45. Cruz Azul and Atlas. That one is dead even, according to Juice Boxes. Puebla hosting Atlético San Luis at 4:45. They're a plus 116. Venezuela, Argentina. Femenil kicks back in at 6:05 with Pachuca, a big favorite at home against Club León. Copa do Brasil is tonight at 7 o'clock. Copa Colombia is tonight at 7 o'clock. Venezuela, Bolivia, a big night for Femenil with another match at 8 o'clock with Chivas, a big home favorite against Querétaro. CONCACAF League is going on tonight at 8 and 10. Liga de Expansión in Liga MX is going on at 8:05. Brazil, Argentina, and your nightcap for Liga MX Femenil is Tijuana and Monterrey. Monterrey on the road is a minus 122. CONCACAF League at 10 o'clock. Real Esteli, we know them out of Nicaragua against Honduran side Real España. They're a plus 110. Liga MX Femenil is your nightcap as well. Juarez hosting Pumas. Pumas is a minus 109. And speaking of Pumas, did you see Danny Alves popping into the lineup? Second he could. He's in the lineup, and so that's fun stuff as well. So that is your rundown of everything we think that's gone on today here in the world of soccer. Thanks for hanging out with us for Thursday Thoughts. Thanks for giving your Thursday thoughts as well. Remember, Friday is the weekend whip around, patent pending, trademark hopefully coming, and we will have all of that information for you as well. And also tomorrow we will have Greg Garza catching up with us for his time with Beyond Goals Mentoring. So remember, later today, it is catching up with Tormenta champions, head coach, and you got we'll hit head coach Jim Robbins. You've got Amy Andrews. We'll start our conversations with the two of them later this afternoon. We've got Nico Moreno and his conversation. Since we're catching up with him later in the day, he'll probably be on his second cup of coffee. So Thursdays with Nico, Thursdays with Tormenta. Friday is the weekend whip around. Friday is Greg Garza. So the week continues to be big here at A Soccer Down Here. And thanks for hanging out with us as you always do. So for Jason, for Jarrett, for Nick, I'm just John. Play it safe, everybody. Enjoy your day of soccer. Mucho platiel.